Leo Thompson, a bright and daring young man, made a name for himself in the digital marketing world. A renowned content creator and savvy investor, he became a millionaire by tapping into the cryptocurrency market and making smart stock market investments. His nomadic lifestyle took him to various parts of the world, but he was currently settled in Dubai's most luxurious hotel, a symbol of his meteoric rise. However, behind the glitz and success, there was a constant shadow hanging over him, a silent sadness that not even all the money in the world could erase. What few people knew was that Leo's heart had been deeply scarred by a heartbreak years ago in a small town in England. During his youth, he fell madly in love with Taylor, a young woman who dreamed of becoming a famous singer. They had promised each other eternal love, but Taylor's ambition spoke louder when a famous music producer offered her the chance to make her dream come true. Seduced by the promise of fame, she betrayed Leo and left with the producer, disappearing from his life and leaving him in a world of pain and disappointment. After months of deep depression, Leo decided he needed to turn his life around. He swore to himself that, despite the pain, he would find a path to happiness and success. Although he lived surrounded by luxury in Dubai, his only true emotional connection was with his mother, who remained in England, taking care of the family. The regular phone calls he made to her were a refuge amidst his loneliness, a moment to share his achievements and confess how much he missed home. But even these conversations couldn't completely fill the void that Taylor had left in his heart. Leo's heart carried deep scars that, despite time and distance, had never fully healed. Taylor, his first love, wasn't just a distant memory, she was the reason Leo had thrown himself so fiercely into the business world. Her betrayal, so unexpected and painful, shattered his young heart and left him in a state of despair. During those first months after the breakup, Leo sank into a paralyzing sadness, unable to see a future that wasn't marked by loss. But amid the darkness, a new motivation sparked within him. Leo decided he wouldn't let his life be defined by the pain Taylor had caused him. Instead, he used this wound as a catalyst to completely transform his life. He dove headfirst into the world of digital marketing, exploring every opportunity, learning to manipulate trends, and mastering the art of selling ideas. His talent, combined with an insatiable hunger for success, led him to become one of the most influential figures in the industry, always with the goal of proving to himself that he could overcome any challenge. Still, with every professional victory, there was a part of Leo that remained unsatisfied. All the money he earned, all the travels, all the luxurious experiences, none of it seemed to fill the void left by Taylor. His success was undeniable, but there was a persistent sadness that followed him, like a shadow that refused to disappear. And although he continued to advance in his career, building an empire and conquering the world, Leo knew deep down that he was on an endless quest for something that would make him feel complete again. After graduating with honors from a prestigious university, Leo was determined to make his mark on the world. With the pain of Taylor's betrayal still fresh in his memory, he channeled all his energy into building something that was exclusively his own. He founded his own digital marketing agency, which quickly stood out for its innovation and impressive results. Success came overwhelmingly, and soon Leo was at the top of the market, known for his ability to turn simple campaigns into global phenomena. His empire grew exponentially, along with it, recognition and opportunities. Leo became one of the most influential names in the industry, and his lifestyle reflected that. While his peers were content with mansions and luxury cars, he chose something different, the nomadic life. Without roots to tie him to a specific place, Leo decided to explore the world, always in search of new inspirations and challenges. Despite this, there was something constant in his life: loneliness. His success was grand, but his personal relationships were practically non-existent. The only person with whom Leo maintained a significant connection was his mother. Although they lived on different continents, the frequent conversations with her were a relief in his hectic routine. She was his safe harbor, the reminder that, despite everything, he still had a connection to something deeper and real. But even with this connection, Leo felt that something was missing in his life. The void left by Taylor wasn't filled by success or money, and his journey, though glorious in the eyes of the world, was still marked by an endless search for peace and happiness. Leo's life took an unexpected turn when one of the most influential investors in the Middle East, Sheikh Khalid Al Fahim, proposed a business dinner in Dubai. The sheikh, known for being traditional and reserved, made a request that intrigued Leo. He wanted Leo to bring his girlfriend to the meeting. For someone like Leo, who had long stopped trusting relationships, this requirement created a dilemma. The women he used to date were drawn to his money and extravagant lifestyle, and Leo knew he couldn't count on any of them to play such a crucial role in a negotiation of this level. While pondering the situation, an idea came to his mind, simple and unexpected, but it made perfect sense. He thought of Valentina, the hotel employee where he was staying. Latina, extremely beautiful, with a discreet air that always caught his attention, Valentina was responsible for tidying his room almost every day. She not only took care of his belongings with zeal and respect but also managed to maintain impeccable professionalism, even when she saw Leo arriving with his temporary companions. The trust she conveyed made Leo decide that she would be the ideal person to accompany him to the dinner. Determined, Leo approached Valentina with the proposal. He explained that he needed a trustworthy companion for an important business dinner and that he was willing to pay generously for her to pretend to be his girlfriend for a night. For Valentina, the offer was unexpected, but she saw the opportunity not only as financial gain but also as a chance to experience something different, outside the exhausting hotel routine. So, she accepted the challenge, ready to help Leo impress the sheikh while diving into a world of luxury and power she had only glimpsed from afar. In the days leading up to the business dinner, Leo took the initiative to instruct Valentina on how to dress and behave for the event. He believed that, due to her humble background, she might not be familiar with the type of attire and etiquette the occasion required. In one of his messages, he offered to pay for a stylist to help her choose the ideal outfit, but Valentina, with confidence Leo didn't expect, politely declined, saying she knew exactly what to do. Surprised by her response, he wondered if he had underestimated her abilities. The conversations continued via messages, as Valentina, always professional, avoided any prolonged interaction at the hotel to not compromise her job. Leo couldn't help but worry about Valentina's behavior during the dinner. Although he admired her, he feared that in such a formal environment, she might end up talking too much or feeling uncomfortable. So, in one last message before the meeting, he suggested that she simply smile and be polite to everyone, assuring her that she didn't need to worry about the content of the conversations. Valentina, as always, responded briefly and politely, leaving Leo with the impression that she was handling the situation calmly, though he still couldn't completely shake off his doubts. When the big day arrived, Leo drove to one of Dubai's simpler neighborhoods to pick up Valentina. As he arrived in front of the house where she lived, he saw her come out, and his expression masked the shock and admiration he felt. Valentina was stunning in a blue silk dress that highlighted her beauty impressively. For the first time, Leo saw her outside her maid uniform, and the sight left him speechless for a few seconds. He quickly regained his composure, but something inside him changed at that moment. The woman approaching with a confident smile and steady steps wasn't just the humble employee he knew, she was someone who, effortlessly, was about to challenge all his expectations. Alongside Valentina, who wore an elegant blue silk dress, Leo entered Dubai's most exclusive restaurant. Sheikh Khalid Al Fahim was already waiting, accompanied by his wife, the gracious Aisha. From the first moment, Valentina surprised everyone with her confident posture and natural charm. She behaved with a discreet elegance that quickly caught the attention of the sheikh and his wife, breaking any barriers of distrust that might have existed. Leo, who initially worried about how Valentina would perform, soon found himself relaxing as he noticed how at ease she was in that situation. During the dinner, Valentina demonstrated a surprising ability to engage in conversations. With intelligence and friendliness, she balanced delicacy and insight, speaking in a light and engaging manner, showing genuine interest in the stories and traditions the sheik shared. Each smile she received from the couple was like a confirmation of her successful performance, and Leo felt the weight of responsibility lift from his shoulders. He began to realize that choosing Valentina couldn't have been more right. She not only helped ensure the success of the negotiation but also revealed a side of Leo that few knew, the man who, behind all the success, was still capable of valuing authenticity and simplicity in a world full of superficiality. As the night progressed, Leo and Valentina began exchanging discreet glances and smiles, signs that, in some way, they were connected on a deeper level than they had imagined. The sheik, pleased with Valentina's captivating presence, seemed increasingly inclined to close the deal. At the end of the night, Khalid al-Fahim, with an approving smile, confirmed his interest in investing in Leo's company, but not without first praising the partner Leo had brought. Valentina, hearing the compliment, responded with a serene smile, while Leo, inwardly, felt a mix of relief and something unexpected, a feeling he couldn't define but that certainly went beyond the initial agreement. After the dinner, with the business success still lingering in the air, Leo, excited by the positive outcome, suggested to Valentina that they go out to celebrate. He was prepared for a night of celebration but was surprised by her response. Valentina, with a gentle smile, thanked him for the invitation but explained that she needed to go home and rest because she had to work the next day. Her polite refusal caught Leo off guard. Any other woman he had dated would have taken the opportunity to continue the night by his side, enjoying the luxury and fun he could offer. But Valentina was different, and that affected him in a way he couldn't explain. Leo drove her back to the simple neighborhood in Dubai where she lived. The ride back to the hotel was quiet, but Leo's mind was racing. The night's encounter had been special, much more than he could have anticipated. Valentina wasn't just a companion who had fulfilled her role perfectly, she had something more, something that touched Leo in an unexpected way. When he arrived at the hotel, he sat in his luxurious suite, reflecting on the night. For the first time in a long while, Leo felt a true connection with someone, and it made him eager for the next encounter. He couldn't wait to see her again in the hotel room the next day. But the next day came, and Valentina didn't show up. 3 days passed with no sign of her, and Leo's anxiety only grew. Every day, he waited impatiently, hoping that the maid entering his room would be Valentina, but it was always someone else. Unable to bear the uncertainty, Leo finally decided to send a message to find out what had happened. Valentina replied that she was sick and was recovering at home but would soon return to work. Relieved to know she was okay but restless with her absence, Leo began counting the days until he could see her again, increasingly aware of how much this woman was starting to affect him in a way he never expected. When the day finally came, and Valentina returned to work, Leo felt a mix of relief and excitement. He had spent the last few days on the verge of agony, eagerly waiting for her return. When he heard the door of his suite open and saw Valentina enter, dressed in her maid's uniform, he realized how much he had missed her. She was paler than usual, but her smile was still the same, serene and kind. Leo, who usually maintained a reserved demeanor, couldn't hide his satisfaction at seeing her again, though he tried to mask his concern. Valentina, on the other hand, seemed unaware of the impact her absence had on Leo. She returned to work with the same dedication as always, organizing the room with her usual efficiency. Leo, who previously didn't care much about details like these, now found himself watching her every move, fascinated by the simplicity and grace with which Valentina performed her tasks. He wanted to ask how she was feeling, but something kept him from being direct. Instead, they exchanged a few brief words, without mentioning what had happened in the previous days, as if both preferred to keep the moment light. However, something had changed in the dynamics between them. Leo, who until then had convinced himself that he could maintain emotional distance, began to feel a growing closeness with Valentina. Her presence, which he had barely noticed before, now seemed indispensable. Each day she came to tidy the room, Leo felt a kind of comfort, as if her simple presence brightened the environment. He still didn't know what to do with these feelings, but one thing was certain: Valentina had become much more than just a discreet employee at the hotel. She was starting to occupy an important space in Leo's life, and he couldn't ignore it. One sunny afternoon in Dubai, Leo, unable to get Valentina out of his mind, decided to invite her for coffee. Surprised but curious, Valentina accepted the invitation, and they arranged to meet at a charming cafe near the hotel. When she arrived, Leo noticed how different she seemed outside the work environment, more relaxed, more approachable. Sitting across from each other, he finally had the chance to get to know her beyond the maid's uniform and the quick interactions at the hotel. During the conversation, Valentina revealed something Leo didn't expect. She shared that she was a trained architect in her home country, Colombia, and had always had many projects and ideas bubbling in her mind. However, due to her family's financial situation, she never had the chance to work in the field. Valentina had decided to come to Dubai to save money to help her parents and, perhaps one day, return to Colombia and pursue her dreams in architecture. This information caught Leo by surprise. He never would have guessed that Valentina had such a solid background and grand ambitions. But what disturbed Leo the most was the revelation that Valentina's contract was about to end. She had been in Dubai for almost a year, and there was only a month left before she would return to Colombia. The idea of being without her presence began to unsettle him in a way he didn't expect. Until that moment, Leo had convinced himself that he could keep his feelings under control, but the possibility of Valentina leaving his life so abruptly made him start questioning what he really wanted. As he took the last sip of coffee, Leo realized he wasn't ready to let her go and would need to find a way to deal with this new reality. In the days following the coffee, Leo couldn't shake the idea of losing Valentina. With each brief encounter at the hotel, her presence became more significant, and the imminence of her departure cast a shadow over him. He started thinking of ways to convince her to stay, but at the same time, he knew he couldn't ask Valentina to give up her dreams. One of those nights, as he reflected on everything, an idea began to take shape in Leo's mind, an idea that could be the solution for both of them. Determined to do something meaningful, Leo reached out to an influential friend in Dubai who had contacts in the architecture field. He asked them to help Valentina find a job opportunity in Dubai, something that would take full advantage of the potential and skills she hadn't been able to explore until then. The proposal was simple but powerful. Leo wanted to give Valentina the chance to achieve her dreams without having to return to Colombia. When he finally told Valentina about the proposal, she was surprised and deeply touched by Leo's concern and generosity. But there was hesitation in her eyes. Something was holding her back from accepting immediately. Valentina explained that despite the tempting offer, she didn't want her life to be defined by someone else. The experience in Dubai had been important to her precisely because she had managed to achieve something on her own, even if outside her field. Leo, understanding the depth of the issue, realized that to convince Valentina to stay, he needed to be more honest with himself and with her. He decided that he couldn't keep hiding his feelings any longer. Leo then confessed that over the past year, Valentina had become essential in his life and that he wasn't ready to let her go, not just as a colleague, but as someone he had fallen in love with. Leo's sincerity moved Valentina, but she still needed time to think. The days passed with a mix of anxiety and hope. Leo respected Valentina's space, but his restlessness grew with every moment he thought about the possibility of her leaving. Finally, a week before Valentina's contract ended, she asked to meet him again at the same cafe where they had their first serious conversation. The meeting began tensely, but Valentina quickly broke the ice by holding Leo's hand and thanking him for everything he had done for her. At that moment, Leo couldn't hold back his feelings anymore. He looked into Valentina's eyes and revealed, with sincerity, that he was in love with her. He confessed that since they started getting to know each other, his life had changed in ways he never expected, and that now, the idea of being without her was unbearable. Valentina, with tears welling up, listened intently to every word, feeling her heart race. Leo explained that he didn't know how he would handle her absence in his life, and the thought of her leaving left a void he couldn't fill. In response, Valentina, deeply touched by Leo's honesty, confessed that she had also developed feelings for him. She explained that her reluctance to accept the job offer wasn't just about her independence but also about the feelings she had developed over time. In an unexpected gesture, Leo pulled a small velvet box from his pocket and revealed a delicate ring. He wasn't proposing marriage to Valentina but offering the ring as a symbol of his commitment and desire to build something lasting with her. Valentina, moved, accepted the ring, and from that day on, they began to walk a new path together, ready to face the future hand in hand. Shortly after accepting Leo's ring and deciding to build a life together, Valentina received troubling news. Her father, who had stayed in Colombia, was gravely ill, and she needed to return home as soon as possible. Without hesitation, Valentina decided she should be with her family, even if it meant giving up the job Leo had arranged for her in Dubai. The separation was painful, but they promised to keep in touch, even from a distance, and Leo assured her he would be there for her, no matter what. When Valentina arrived in Colombia, she found her family shaken by her father's condition. He was very weak and needed constant care, making it impossible for Valentina to return to Dubai anytime soon. Although they kept in regular contact, the distance began to weigh on both of them. Leo missed her immensely, and each day without Valentina felt harder to bear. Eventually, he realized he simply couldn't go on without seeing her and decided to take action. Without warning, Leo took the first flight to Colombia, determined to be by Valentina's side, no matter what it took. Leo's arrival in Colombia was an emotional surprise for Valentina. He met her family and, with his influence and resources, managed to have Valentina's father transferred to one of the best hospitals in the country. Leo's intervention made a huge difference, and soon Valentina's father began to show signs of improvement. With her father's health recovering and the family situation stabilizing, Leo realized he didn't want to risk losing Valentina again. On a quiet evening, after a family dinner, Leo got down on one knee and asked Valentina to marry him. Valentina, her eyes brimming with happiness, accepted without hesitation. They knew that together, they could face any challenge. Leo and Valentina's wedding was a grand and emotional celebration. Held in Colombia, the event brought together friends and family from both sides, in a party that beautifully combined traditions and cultures. Valentina was radiant in her wedding dress, while Leo, elegantly dressed, couldn't contain the joy and emotion of finally marrying the woman who had transformed his life. The ceremony was full of touching moments, from the heartfelt vows they exchanged to the tears of happiness shed by everyone present. Soon after the ceremony, the newlyweds embarked on a honeymoon that Valentina had always dreamed of. They traveled through Europe, exploring cities that house some of the world's most impressive architecture. Valentina, fascinated by every detail, absorbed everything with contagious enthusiasm, while Leo watched with admiration, happy to make another of his beloved's dreams come true. Every city visited, every monument explored, strengthened the bond between them, solidifying the love they both knew was for life. After returning to Dubai, Valentina began pursuing her true passion, architecture. With Leo's support and marketing expertise, she quickly stood out in the market, creating innovative projects that made her known and respected. Valentina managed to balance her successful career with caring for her parents, sending them all the support needed to ensure they lived comfortably. Leo and Valentina, now an unbeatable team, found happiness in their mutual achievements and the life they built together. The future seemed bright, and they knew that, together, they could overcome any challenge that came their way. Did you enjoy this story? Then don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Your support is very important for us to keep bringing you exciting content like this. Leave your opinion about the video in the comments, and if you have an amazing story to share, I'd love to hear it. Send your story to our email in the description, and who knows, it might be the next video on the channel. See you next time.